Nobody tells you this in nursing school, but the first few weeks on the job can feel like you are drowning. You know the theory, you passed the exams, but suddenly you're in scrubs, standing in front of a real patient, and your mind goes completely blank. Being a new grad nurse is completely hard, but I must say it is beautiful. If you're a nursing student or you just landed yourself your first nursing job, I must say congratulations to you. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the truth about being a newly graduated nurse. So sit right there and let's dive right into the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm your favorite nurse Dean. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And also feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. There are a few things I really wish that someone had told me before I started working as a nurse. Today, I'm going to be sharing the real hard stuff that I actually learned the hard way. Not from textbooks, not from class tutorials, but the real stuff in being a new nurse. Firstly, you have this feeling that you know nothing, but trust me, it's completely normal. I remember walking into the emergency department for my first real shift as a registered nurse, and when I entered into the environment, it felt like everything I knew had flown out through the window. My first task of the day, inserting a female urine catheter. Of course, I'd done it so many times, so it was no big deal. But suddenly, I forgot the steps. I was fumbling with the gloves. I couldn't do anything. I was so confused. Thankfully, a senior nurse stepped in and gave me corrections where I needed corrections. Now, that experience taught me a lot. Most especially, it taught me that as a nurse, I don't need to know everything. All that matters is that whenever I get confused, I need to ask questions. Asking questions make you smart and not weak. I used to think that asking too many questions would make you feel unprepared. But when I started working, I realized that asking questions can actually help you abort a lot of things, a lot of misfortune that can come from not asking questions. It actually shows that you are being careful and responsible and that your patient's life matters to you. Now let's take this as an example. When I started working, I was asked to administer some medications. Those were cardiac medications. Now there were two drugs in my list that I was supposed to administer. I knew one, but the second one I had no idea about. And I was too busy to make my research about the drugs. So I asked the senior nurse that was on duty what the drugs was. And then she, during her explanation, said something that really drew my attention to those two drugs. Then I went further to present those two drugs to her. And then she screamed and she was like, please don't do it. Don't administer this medication to the patient. So it happened that those two drugs were never compatible. There would have been a drug interaction, which would have been very dangerous. Imagine what would have been the outcome if I hadn't asked the question. Some days you will cry, some days you will shine. I won't sugarcoat it. I had really tough days. Even to this moment, I still have really tough days. I once cared for a young woman who was delivered of a bouncing baby girl, a very healthy baby girl. But I noticed that during her period of stay in the hospital, she was not visited. Nobody was bringing anything for her. It was just, hey nurse, can you please help me get this? Can you please help me get this? Can you please help me get this? So it triggered me to ask her a question one day. After her second day in the hospital, I asked her, hello ma, I noticed that when you came to the hospital, you came alone. You were prepared. You came with your flags, you came with everything you need. Where is your husband? And she was crying. She was crying. She said to me that her husband said that he will only be in the hospital when he hears that she delivers a baby boy. And I was so sad for her. So this woman was literally going through the pain of delivery, the pain of catering for this baby, the pain of surviving because she delivered a baby girl. That was a very difficult moment for me. It made me so emotional, and I could literally put myself in her shoes. I was asking myself, how am I going to feel if it was me? If it were to be me in her situation? This was a sad day for me. On the other hand, there was a day I literally nursed a patient who had lost hope of survival. He, a young guy who was involved in an accident, he came to the hospital. He was going. But fortunately for him, he was nursed back to life. He was treated and he came back. And when he was about leaving the hospital, he called his wife, who was also with him during his period of stay in the hospital. He called her and sent her some money, telling her to buy some things for us. And, she bought those things. And the nurses, the doctors, all those who had one thing or the other to do with him, we all celebrated in his recovery. Now, these are good days. Good days that you get celebrated. Good days that your patients are nursed back to full health. Your preceptor can make a big difference. In this aspect, I'm going to be saying that I was very lucky to be under someone who was not just a good woman, but also a good nurse, a good tutor, a good everything, and I'm giving kudos to her. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain about their senior staff and all those stuff, saying some of them will be like, this woman is so harsh and all those stuffs. Now, they can make a difference in your life in the sense that you, as a newly graduated nurse, you come into the world, you're so tensed, you're terrified and all those stuffs. Now, the way you are corrected when you make those mistakes is actually going to affect you, make you or break you in the long run, in the sense that it's going to help either make you courageous or going to break you, make you scared. But our hope is not lost. If you feel unsupported, I would advise you to speak up. Very difficult, right? But trust me, it's achievable. There are lots of wonderful nurses out there waiting to mentor you, waiting to direct you, waiting to guide you. So you just have to speak up. You have to look around, make friends in your working environment. It will help you adapt more to the system and it will help put you back in shape. Being a new grad nurse is very difficult, right? But trust me, you're actually in the learning process. You're learning, you're growing, you're becoming better on a daily basis. At some point, you're going to be questioning yourself if this is actually the right path. But trust me, it is the right path. You went through the rigorous process of training, the examinations, and you came out as a nurse. So don't you give up. Keep pushing because you will pass through that phase and you're going to look back and also sit down one day to tell the story of how you overcame. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found this video educating, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And also turn on the notification button for more health related content. See you all in my next video.